Ah, shit. This does not have the Muppets in it. I'm too lazy to switch it off. Let's go.
In A Christmas Carol, now Cinema Center Films has taken this beloved story of the meanest man in the world and made it into a new musical delight called Scrooge.
You can't hate on pretty much any adaptation of A Christmas Carol. It's such a happy story, and it's just so familiar that even if you've not seen a version before, you can probably see some lines coming and quote them as they're said first time you watch it. And there's nothing better than watching a friendly, happy Christmas film. Unless it's also a musical. Scrooge is just one in the long line of pretty major takes on the story of A Christmas Carol. This one stars Albert Finney as Ebenezer, David Collins as Bob Cratchit, and Alec Guinness as Jacob Marley, playing a ghost years before he ever played a Force Ghost, yes. What's fascinating to me is you can ask 10 different people what their favourite version of A Christmas Carol is, and they'll all say Muppets. No, but... well, maybe. But no, you can actually get like 10 different viable answers. And it's so interesting to me to watch through some of these different ones, you know? This one, it's very familiar in lots of ways, but it also has some little things that set it apart. Like a group of kids that just heckle the shit out of Scrooge for being a dick. You don't see that often enough. And Scrooge literally singing a song called I Hate People. Magnificent. I think what works about this retrospectively, because there have been so many different defining versions of this story. Every generation has their own major ones, not just major one, going back over 100 years. But what works about this one to watch back today is that the 1960s were such a definitive period for musicals, okay? There's nothing like a 60s musical. You watch them back today and you're like, oh, that, yes. And... despite not being like the very single best version of A Christmas Carol, maybe even in that generation, this was very much the kind of tail end of that period. It was made in 1970, and it just has a certain feel about it, like the songs and the style of them and the dancing. It all comes together to feel so definitively 60s that this manages to feel like an important version of A Christmas Carol, even though it's not, you know, the best one or anything. And I really love that about it. And it was literally made as a kind of pseudo-sequel to the 1968 Oliver film. Like, it was made with a lot of the same lot and backgrounds, and all of this stuff was, like, reused. And some of the same people were involved. It's one of those things that, as much as it's not, like, some genius film, it's a pretty good musical. It's got some banger songs in there that they wrote for this. I really enjoyed some of them. This is a fascinating film. It's got a very British kind of charm and style about it. It looks a bit drab, but the style is fun and funky. And also, Albert Finney won a Golden Globe for playing Scrooge, and Alec Guinness redefined what it means to walk with only your shoulders. What was that entrance when he was playing Marley? It was like, he was prowling on that guy. It doesn't matter. So, there's something that I noticed that's tricky in making this story a musical, and it's that Ebenezer Scrooge is a grouchy old man, and the kind of singing that it is feasible for a grouchy old man to do is not very exciting. And there are moments in this where he starts breaking into like sad, solemn song, and you're like, okay. Like, it's a little dull, that like style of singing, and that is a problem that you could only solve if you somehow managed to basically not have Scrooge singing at all, but still made it a musical. Muppets. Who? What? No, it doesn't matter. It's easy to compare this to other versions of the story, but this does have flair and style that is all its own, okay? There are some... I mean, I was questioning the musical aspects early on because they weren't, like, wowing me. I Hate People was pretty funny in concept, but not one that I was, like, really jamming to. When they hit the December 25th, like, whole song and dance sequence, I'd kind of changed my mind. I was like, actually, this is starting to go somewhere. And then it just kept going, and there were definitely 3 or 4 big musical numbers that I really enjoyed in this. And it's fair to say that those are probably the best bit about it. It does have some other really quirky, funny things. I mean, Ghost of Christmas Present. Oh, there's always, you know, he's always the ghost with the most personality in any of the adaptions. But in this, he just shit talks Scrooge a lot. It's just like, hey, you weird little man, come over here. It's really funny. Also, Albert Finney, I don't know what possessed him when Scrooge drinks the Ghost of Christmas Presents, he calls it the milk of human kindness. We're not going to talk about that. He decided to start playing Scrooge kind of like he was drunk, but more like he was just like some sort of goblin, like a little gremlin going like, as he wandered about. It was so funny to me. I loved it. It was weird. With December the 25th, I Like Life and Thank You Very Much. This is a musical with genuine bangers. These are worth putting on your Christmas playlist and checking out the film purely for those. It was awesome experiencing all of those. Also, the fact that they have an entire giant musical number where a guy is literally dancing on Scrooge's coffin and all this huge crowd of people are cheering and Scrooge doesn't even realize it's a funeral for him. That scene is awesome. That is incredible. There are moments in this, just individual moments and scenes where you feel like this is basically the best adaptation of this story ever. But then there's all the other moments, yeah. I mean, there is the entire scene where he goes to hell when he's viewing the future stuff, and Marley is there to tell him, yep, here's your giant fucking chain, and also you're the devil's secretary forever now. Like, what the fuck? Like, it has got some of the absolute worst and some of the absolute best moments in any Christmas Carol adaptation I've ever seen. It's all over the place. But seriously, you should check it out just to get some bangers for your Christmas playlist. And I'm giving I Aspire to Have That Many Purely Haters in a giant crowd at my funeral 3.5 stars. Madness. That entire last 40 minutes, it was just like the entire cast was on crack, and I love it. That goes to Christmas present. Banger all the way. Kenneth Moore, I think his name is. Incredible. So funny, just shit talking Scrooge. People should do that more.